No one expected the smallest voice in the throne room to end a celebration planned for 3 moons. The silk banners already hung from the silver towers of Aurelian. The gravity choirs were tuned, the war beasts were painted in royal gold, and 10,000 nobles stood in a line so perfect it looked carved into the morning. Then the human envoy stepped forward and asked the one question no one had asked in 600 years. "May I see the maps?" Laughter moved through the court, because humans were still new to the covenant, but provincial beside empires that measured history in geological ages. Queen Suresh smiled from her floating throne, but the human did not smile back. He studied the procession route above the hall, and repeated himself, slower this time, "May I see the maps?" And suddenly the laughter sounded wrong, because humans never asked strange questions for amusement. They asked them because they had already noticed something everyone else had missed. And when the queen stopped smiling, the palace forgot how to breathe. Suresh had ruled for 119 years without ever being surprised in public. She had outplayed machine cults, crushed pirate dynasties, and negotiated peace between species that communicated only through scent and pain. She understood that today's parade was proof that the crown still held the skies. So when she asked the human why he wanted restricted royal charts on the morning of her triumph, the room expected him to stumble. Instead, he bowed once and said, "Because, Your Majesty." "Your route is wrong," ministers hissed. Admirals went rigid. Yet the human kept speaking in the calm tone of a man placing a charge beneath a fortress wall. "I studied every public schematic in your annex, every merchant lane, every orbital engraving above your gates. They do not agree with one another. Either your ancestors could not draw, or someone has been editing your borders for a very long time." The line struck the chamber like an opened airlock, because even ancient empires have truths too dangerous to name aloud. And the queen leaned forward. She dismissed the musicians, the heralds, and the ceremonial guard, then took only her war council, chief archivist, and the human into the map vault beneath the palace. Outside, the city still glittered with expectation. Crowds gathered beneath anti-rain veils. Children balanced on sculpted railings. None of them knew the opening trumpet had just been delayed. Inside, the vault unfolded like a black stone flower, and the chamber beyond was filled with layered light. Memory crystal, gravity thread, and living ink. Dynasties had revised these charts. Hidden things inside them, the humans stared upward as stars. Trade lanes, military arcs, and forgotten border scars rotated above his head. Then he began asking for changes, obsolete cargo overlays, old war grids, evacuation routes, pre-annexation coordinates. The archivist protested twice and then went quiet. Because the human was not wandering, he was hunting. And when he finally pointed toward the eastern orbital veil and asked for ceremonial masking to be removed, what appeared was not an error, it was a wound. A dark corridor hidden beneath centuries of revisions. Wide enough to move an invasion fleet through the palace sky lanes without triggering half the capital's defense net. The human stepped closer, voice rough now. "Your parade passes directly beneath this corridor. Your escorts are concentrated west for display. Your gunships are grounded for pageantry. Your citizens are packed into vertical boulevards. If an enemy comes through here today, they do not just kill a queen. They kill the idea of your empire in one afternoon." Silence took the vault. The glowing map hung over faces gone pale. Hidden edits had nudged official routes away from military reality over generations. Slowly enough that no single revision looked suspicious. Whoever had done it understood politics, ceremony, vanity, and patience. They had waited for a day exactly like this. A day when spectacle would blind the crown. The chief admiral whispered that the corridor had been erased after an ancient civil war, but the human shook his head. Erased things leave gaps. This was maintained. Someone wanted it forgotten by everyone except the people who planned to use it. That was when Queen Suresh rose from her throne so fast, the gravity rings around it screamed. Cancel the parade, she said. The admiral hesitated. If we cancel now, the outer systems will smell fear, then let them smell survival. She replied, seal the sky lanes, wake the river batteries, jam civilian feeds, and arrest every archivist who touched the ceremonial route in the last 2 centuries. The palace transformed from opera to fortress in less than a minute. Officers barked into wrist comets. Defense grids woke outside. The crowd began to murmur as festival music died in mid-note. Then the first enemy ships arrived. Slipping through the hidden corridor with predator silence, black holes, no insignia, no warning, only descending geometry and murder. But the royal guns were already turning. Aurelian's cliff batteries erupted, palace shields unfolded, and what should have been a massacre became an ambush. 3 enemy cruisers vanished in white fire. Another split open against a lattice minefield activated less than a minute before impact. By dusk, the capital still stood, scorched, shaken, alive. Fragments of burning metal fell into the outer sea. Emergency bells echoed through districts that should have been graveyards. And Queen Sarish stood on the balcony where she had planned to wave. Now there were no banners moving below, only medics, soldiers, and stunned families staring upward for answers. Beside her stood the human, soot on his sleeves. Blood on one cheek that was not his own, a figure beneath a large sky. The queen asked the question history would repeat for centuries. How did you know? And he answered in the simplest way imaginable. Because humans come from a world where maps were never just maps. They were warnings, promises, lies, weapons, escape plans, and prayers. We learned early that whenever power grows ancient, someone starts drawing the road to its throat. The queen looked over her saved city for a long moment, then gave the order that would become legend before the smoke had cleared. From this day, every royal archive will be open to human cartographers. No route will be sacred from review, and let it be remembered that when the empire prepared to celebrate itself, it was a human who asked to see the maps, and a queen wise enough to cancel the parade.